Hello and welcome to Bourbon Rocks. Tonight we are going to review Pappy Van Winkle's Family Reserve, aged 23 years, otherwise known as Pappy 23. Again, one of the most sought after bourbons in the world. I have done a review already on Pappy 25, which is a true unicorn in the bourbon world. This one is a little bit more accessible, but you're still going to pay a fortune for it. Question is it worth the money? Is it good? We're going to find out in just a second here. So Pappy Van Winkle, again, distilled by Buffalo Trace Distillery. It's an old bourbon brand going back several generations. It is, again, thought of as probably the premier bourbon in the world. Let's see if we can figure out why. They have different expressions of the Pappy. This is the 23 year, and it's actually bottled at 95.6 proof. They're all bottled at different proofs, and they have different aging number of years. The 23 here is going to probably list at $200 to $300, but you're never going to get it at that price unless you win the lottery. Otherwise, you're going to be paying internet prices, which is probably going to be upwards around $5,000 to maybe $7,000 at this point in time, because Pappy is so widely sought after. So let's find out, is it really worth it? We're going to pour a little here into our Glencairn glass. Got to smell that cork, actually. Very, like almost plum or so on the cork. Now you got to give yourself a good enough pour. I know when you have this very expensive bourbon, you kind of want to make it last a long time. You have a tendency to just do a smaller pour, but if you're going to really get that taste out of it, you really have to have enough to actually, fill your mouth so you can really tell. So first, we'll look at the color. And it's, a reddish brown auburn, amber to auburn color. It's probably just a tad bit lighter than the 25. It's a little more orange, a little less red, but pretty close in color. The body, pretty heavy, again, sticking to the glass. Now when we get to the nose, you can open your mouth so that you can really get that nice aromatics from the bourbon coming up in through your nostrils. It's sweet. It's got the cherry, same as the 25. There's a lot of cherry. I always thought of Pappy's as sort of cherry bombs, a lot of cherry flavor, and it's definitely sweet cotton candy. You got the vanilla that's average, not overpowering. Pie crust. I think it's also a little less caramel than you find in the 25. Not quite. And it's a little bit more balanced. When we get to the palate, again, give it that Kentucky chew, so you can get it all around your mouth. Maybe you want to take the second sip, you're going to get a little more out of the second sip typically. Now, again, much what we saw with the 25, it's a lot spicier on the palate than you'd expect from a wheated bourbon. Not as much so as the 25 was, but there's still a little bit of sweetness. It's not not as sweet as the nose, but some kind of cinnamon toast crunch, little allspice. There's some of the spices that you might see a little more in a rye bourbon, but there's it's in here. Kind of that toastiness as well. Like in the barrel, a little butterscotch, I think. And then there's that classic flavor tobacco that you often see on reviews for highly aged bourbons. And years ago I never was able to really pull that out. I didn't really understand what tobacco really tasted like. But using my nosing kits as I've improved my training, I'm starting to get that sort of fresh tobacco leaf, like almost like the chewing tobacco in the Red Man pouches and so forth that I don't chew, but I know what it smells like. So you get some more of that. Again, not as sweet on the palate as there is on the nose. A little less fruity, more spicy. You know, that kind of allspice, baking spice, and the tobacco. But cinnamon toast crunch. If you want to pull something that's kind of maybe slightly sweet, definitely that wheat coming out in the toast, and then you got that, you know, the cinnamon flavor to it. But the finish, again, similar to the 25, that finish brings back that sweetness, that cherry, back to the cherry pie taste that you kind of had in the beginning. Maybe some vanilla pudding, but with like definitely some alcohol on top of it. Once again, just like the 25, this thing drinks a lot hotter than its proof point. The 25 was 100 proof. I thought it drank more like 110 or 115. This is 95.6. Again, I easily feels 100 and, you know, 700, 110 to me. It's definitely a lot of alcohol in there, much more than the proof point. But again, similar to the 25, but more mellow and probably a lot more balanced than the 25, between the sweetness to the spiciness and back to the sweetness again. Again, it's going to have an ace because an ace is essentially the winner of all bourbons, the ones that you're not going to find very often. And if you get an ace in your hand, then your hand is probably going to win. Is it worth the price? Well, it's a lot less expensive than the 25. I clearly didn't think the 25 was worth the price. If you can win the lottery, by all means, this is still going to be one of the best bourbons you're ever going to drink. But if you have to pay internet prices, it just depends. 7,000 too much, 5,000 is too much. You're probably not ever going to find it these days less than that. If you found some special deal, maybe you're trading. As most of the Pappies, at least the higher age Pappies, they're going to be far more overpriced than they're worth. But if you've got it and you can enjoy it, you know, you might be better off if you can get a pour in a bar. Still going to cost you a bit, but it's, you know, cheaper than buying the whole bottle. But it's for a special occasion. You know, you can't beat Pappy. It's the king of bourbons for a reason. Definitely, again, that very fruity cherry sweetness in the beginning and at the end, and a little more spice, subtleness in the, but a lot of alcohol in that palate. Better balanced than the 25. I will do an actual comparison between the different Pappies in a future video, so I don't want to like do too much comparison right now because we're going to do a few more here. But I would say the 23 probably is a bit better than the 25, and certainly much more of a value than the 25. So anyway, here, cheers, Pappy 23. Check out my reviews on bourbonrocks.com. Thank you.